I'm just explaining some of the things of a Nazir to Dad here. And Nazir is a self-realized man. So he wanted an example of what a self-realized man is. A self-realized man is someone who doesn't need the imprimatur, or whatever, the stamp of approval of another person or an organization to declare himself ready, or to declare himself what he is, or, well, self-realized. That is what the Nazir does. He's not a Kohen. He declares himself his version and the version of what a Kohen is. In a certain sense, he goes above that of being a Kohen. So when let me give the Dad now, he's standing to my right here, an example of self-realization in the field that I'm been in as a tennis player and tennis pro. I don't have a stamp of approval of a USTA teaching certificate. Do I need this to teach? Absolutely not, because I am a tennis pro. I was 100 in the world, and so I feel that therefore I can teach. And I don't need somebody else's stamp of approval or a certificate of occupancy to tell me that I am now able to teach. I don't have to go through a test. I know that I am doing it. Now, this is the same for every field. A self-realized man is someone, in my opinion, doesn't need smicha, doesn't need the stamp of approval of the school to make you into a rabbi. You declare yourself. This has examples, by the way, in Lacanian therapy, and what they call the pass. The pass. One goes into Lacanian therapy, and when he feels he's ready, he passes himself. When he says he's ready to be a therapist, he gives himself the pass and becomes a Lacanian therapist. This is not much different than the general and particular that is so often seen in the world. There is a general for most people, like normative school, and then there's a particular for those who shouldn't be in school. Bill Gates, say, dropped out of school and developed Microsoft. Should he have been in school? There are a lot of school dropouts that have been very successful. They shouldn't be in school. All tennis players, they shouldn't be in school. Why would a person want to go to college if he's a tennis player? Tennis is his profession. What benefit is there for him in a college learning French literature? Wouldn't he be better off playing the French Open in Paris and gaining that insight on site? And so this is what I mean by a self-realized individual, which is the goal of Judaism. To be like Moshe, to write your own Torah, to set your own interpretations of halacha, to study all your life so that you can find the fine-tuning, fine points that are specifically for you. Something that I did this morning, as you may not know, my specific mitzvah is tefillin. And I discovered something about tefillin, about the makor of tefillin for me today, that the makor of tefillin comes from Cain. And how did it come about? The makor of tefillin is the oat, the sign on the hand, or the tosafot on the head, maybe the mark on the head, that Hashem gave Cain to single him out so he wouldn't be sought after. Somewhat like his own city of refuge. Somewhat like the Shema itself. Some people feel that the mark on Cain was a vav. If that's so, those are the 6 cities of refuge. Some feel that the mark on Cain was a tov, the first letter of tefillin. I feel that the mark on Cain was tefillin itself, with the 2 large shin, the dalet in the back of the head, and the yud on the arm. And the name was Shaddai. How do I feel this way? Because if you take Cain and spell it out, it's Kof, Yud, Nun. Final Nun. So if Kof is 100, Yud is 10, final Nun is 700. That's 810 plus 3 letters, plus 1 for all. And that comes to 814. That just so happens to be the gematria of the name Shaddai, Shin Dalet Yud, the marks of the tefillin itself, spelled out in full. Shin, 360, Dalet, 434, and Yud, 20, 814. So Cain is the makor of the Shaddai of tefillin. And tefillin itself, we always wonder where it comes from. Does it come from like the passing by of the sheep? Where does tefillin come? It comes from Cain. There's a mark after he's killed his brother. And so this is a very deep issue, how the seed of Cain is in the tefillin itself, and one of the oats, along with Shabbos and Bris, the major oats. And this major oat comes from Cain, and the seed of Cain, and where the Mashiach will come from the seed of Cain. And so this is a very deep issue. And one wouldn't normally get this unless one is not afraid to delve into the general communal self and to find his particular aspect. How the letter Aleph becomes a Samach. How does it become a Samach? Well, listen to this. Aleph is made up of a Yud, a Vav in the middle, and another Yud. If we multiply this, Yud times Vav is 60. Times another Yud, that's 600. That's the same as the full gematria of Samach. Samach, 60, Mem, 40, that's 100, and then a final Kaf is 500. So we have here 600 found within the Aleph, how everything is found within the Aleph, how the linear is found and the circular is together, how the Aleph and the Aleph Samach is Ein Sof, how this 600 is such a big number because it's the final Mem, which is like a double Dalet in the back of the head. And that 600 is the 2 shins on the tefillin. and the Yud on the arm. So here, what does it mean to be self-realized? One thing I can tell you is to be able to say what I just said with a surety. No, I don't need anybody's stamp to tell you what I just told you. It comes from my own neshama. It's a realization of the self. When you have that surety about everything, then you walk down the street knowing that the others are only leading themselves to the space that you now occupy within your own self. Become your own Aleph, your own spark, and don't wait for the approval to ask somebody, or for somebody to come up to you and tell you, you're ready. You're ready when you say you're ready. And until you say you're ready, you're not a self-realized individual. You're just a schoolboy, waiting for the mark of Cain, to be given to you by the teacher. As long as you sit there, you will never attain. Looking for the approval of the society, instead of taking it on yourself to give yourself your own approval, your own stamp, your own oath, your own mark.